Hello viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Camera Tuesday, we're gonna talk about raw files to mobile phone. So let's dive right into it. Now first, why would you want to do that? Because raw files are huge, as in like your JPEG from a multi-megapixel camera would be around 5 megapixels, 5 megabytes, but your raw file would be easily 31 or even 50. So reality is the reason why it's so huge, it's almost equivalent to what we classify as digital negative, aka all the latitude is preserved, it's not compressed. So it allows you to do what we call non-destructive post-processing, meaning if your app supports it, you can go YOLO on your image and you can revert it if you need to. And why would you want to edit your images? Well, reality is it's an art form. You do not want to show, okay, this was the exact, like you are not running a Mars rover where you want exactly precisely what exactly is there. You want to have your quote-unquote feel to it, and for that you may want to utilize post-production as an extra tool. For that reason, this is a desirable thing to do, to take raw files. Then we have the option. Mobile phones nowadays are very powerful, as in terms of teraflops, they are literally reaching a point where they can directly compare to old laptops. So fundamentally speaking, you have very powerful, very compact editing station directly in your pocket, so you can do a lot of things. And a lot of apps that has been redesigned for, let's say, mobile users, they are far more convenient, as in like if I show any Tom, Dick and Harry Lightroom, they will be blown away. It's like how complex that puppy is, but give them Lightroom mobile edition, even the same can manufacture, same company and all that jazz, it will be like super easy to manage, because like again, sometimes starting from scratch allows you to do many things better. So they did that. On mobile phone you can do amazing things, and most of the apps are free, so that's the whole point. And you can even pay for really powerful apps. So there is a lot of reason why you want to have raw files directly ported into your mobile phone. Then we come to the aspect, what is the problem if you want to do that? And modern camera phones, I'm saying, generally have Wi-Fi, NFC, Bluetooth and all the jazz. Is like, what's the issue? Well, reality is company does not want you to do that. Why? I have no idea. Maybe company wants to go bankrupt. Fundamentally speaking, this is one of those things that is like, who is the manager that came up with this idea? It's like, let's not allow people to do this. So that's really frustrating, and it's super frustrating for Sony users, because if any user has bought, let's say, 6300, as in like older variant of 6000 series, they had this option that Sony imaging app allowed them to transfer raw files, and editing raw files on mobile phones was easy. So if you had that equipment, you were going YOLO on it. But now they are like, no, we cannot allow you, only JPEG. It's like, why? Let me worry about that. Let me worry about the file sizes. Let me worry about how to decode that, how to manage that. It's like, why you are limiting that option? So does Canon. This is tangibly frustrating. Like I do something where I need raw file editing directly, simply because what I do is called Milky Way photography in a light polluted environment. You need what we call exposed to the right. So basically your histogram has to be exposed to the right. Now if you can directly see it, like after you capture the photo, let's say 1 minute exposure, 2 minute exposure, you captured it and you directly edited it, you will know how much basically how to control your exposure. I needed to do with a laptop, because even though my camera had Wi-Fi, it did not allow transfer. If it allowed transfer, I would have easily done on mobile phone and taken much. It's like, I want to do astrophotography, but fact is my camera fights against me. It's like, no, I have Wi-Fi, but I will not transfer file. I'm like, what the hell? So that's a very frustrating thing for me. And be mindful, you may find text that is a bit confusing, is that JPEG plus HIF is basically bigger brother of JPEG, and HIF should allow you to have at least 10 bits of color data, and it's much better than JPEG, but it's not as good as raw file. Now if you have no other option, HIF is much better than JPEG, but it does come with a consequence that other apps do not support it. You may find, like, if you are transferring HIF files from one folder to WhatsApp will always forget the rotation of it. So there are some issues. HIF is not as widely supported yet, and there are no reason for this sort of limitation. This is like somebody decided, you know what, F the customer. I'm like, that's why your camera industry is shrinking. Camera industry should not be shrinking. At this point in time, you can do amazing things with modern equipment, but it's like, what if we make a customer life hell? Wouldn't it be nice? I'm like, no, that's why you're gonna go bankrupt. So this is one of the things that's like really boils my blood. So what are the solution? Okay, you have this problem, how you gonna solve it? Well, if you are only focusing on hobby or fun, lightweight stuff, I would urge you to look into Wi-Fi SD card. Unfortunately, because of the fact that companies started to implement Wi-Fi, sales for this puppy started to draw down, even though these were a much better implementation. Why? Because this was a SD card that you can put on any camera. So if you have old second-hand camera, it will still work. If you have brand new camera, it will still work. and this had 16 GB of capacity, which you may be like, yeah, that's a bit low. That's why I specified, because the moment camera started to integrate this sort of function, the demand for these things died out. However, you can still buy them. Toshiba still makes this fresh air equipment, and you can buy 16 GB or 32 GB right now, and this will allow you to directly have a Wi-Fi access to the material on the card. It does not matter which format it is, just like whatever file is in the card, you can directly read it off. So it allows your mobile phone to directly receive the files. Now, I would never urge you to utilize this sort of equipment in any sort of professional setting or any sort of high risk environment. This is just for fun, because these cards have never been supported. This never became like, the next big thing. So there is no SanDisk option here. There is no high speed option. This is barely class 10. So like, of course, if I want to do Milky Way photography, I can do with this, but you get the point. This is not something I'm gonna do sports photography with that, or long video recording with that, because the card might crap out. So fundamentally speaking, this is just a fun hobby option, and benefit includes all cameras are supported. So that's one option. Option number two, which is thankfully present in all the pro variants, is that you can utilize FTP file transfer. Now, FTP is file transfer protocol, and it is utilized in all pro cameras. Generally, if you have a full frame camera, there is a very good chance it has it already, and if you have a high end camera, I can guarantee it has that. Now, FTP is a system, basically you create your own local server, quote unquote, and thankfully, because of the power of mobile phone, now you can create your own hotspot, so your mobile phone and camera can talk. And in terms of file transfer, you can create a FTP server client on your mobile phone directly, so it does not need to talk to another server. You can directly have this, and this will dump file in the background. This can be done, and these are generally recommended for people who are utilizing low budget camera. For example, let's say you want to use Sony A7C. It has FTP and it has single card. Now again, if you're taking a wedding photography and all that jazz, that's a very risky situation. But if you have FTP, at least last file till the card corruption can be saved. So you can literally have FTP running in the background. However, please do have power bank for your mobile phone, because this will drain power. So FTP for pro cameras are a very good option. However, it is complex to set up. It's like FTP is still stuck in 1990s, and we should not need to do this. We should not need to do this, but we have to, and it is only possible on expensive cameras. Then we have the old option, is just buy a goddamn SD card reader, which you can directly stuck into your mobile phone. Benefit, it will work with everything, and consequently is a bit tedious, but be very mindful. This time, people, I would urge you to not do this on a camera. If it's a professional shoot that you are trying to do, please try to have a camera that has dual card slot, because these sort of card reader, when they are working on mobile phone, they may not have the same power reliability as they have on a laptop or desktop. So they may have like your mobile phone triggers up basically what we call power saving function. This puppy will lose power, and you could corrupt your card. So if you have dual card, awesome, but if you don't, then I would urge you to proceed with caution. And if you are buying a card reader that is not from a major brand and is very cheap, I would urge you to please test before you do it any serious job on it. So this does work, but be mindful, this would be very slow even if everything is working, because most of the card, even though they have USB C port, those USB C ports are generally USB 2.0, and even if you buy a branded one that has USB C 3.0 standard, mobile phones generally don't have 3.0 standard built into them. So file transfer speed would be barely 15 Mbps. Again, enough, but not the latest and greatest. Or you can just buy Nikon and Panasonic, because both of them directly support RAW file in the main app. I'm like, why Nikon and Sony? Basically Canon and Sony. Or if you travel a lot and you want something rugged option, because mobile phones are not that rugged, you can buy what we call card reader SSDs. Now, Western Digital makes them. They are very expensive. Basically, My Passport Wireless SSD. The benefit of this puppy is that it's a SSD, so even if it drops and all that, it's far more robust. It allows you to directly dunk your SD card, and it will clone the whole SD card. It will just take whatever is in the SD card, dump into the memory system, and this can create its own basically Wi-Fi hotspot. And then utilizing that, you can directly edit on this puppy or edit on mobile phone. Sometimes people like this option, especially people who buy iPhones, because iPhones don't have large storage capacity. On Android, you can just chuck a 2 TB micro SD card, but like in iPhone, good luck with that. So those sort of people generally look for this, and it does have some benefit, because even if you want to have data copied on your mobile phone, having one extra backup is always advisable. Always advisable. The more backup, the better you are. So these are some solutions. Now what about apps? You got the raw file in your mobile phone. What after that? Well, generally raw files are not .raw. There is no .raw format. Most camera company have their own proprietary format. So unless you are paying for some very high-end app like Adobe Photo Pro Edition, you will have a hard time decoding all those raw files. Thankfully, there is an app known as raw to DNG. DNG is digital negative, and this puppy can decode most of the raw files and directly convert into much more smaller, much more manageable, and much more open format, which basically Snapseed can read, and even free variant of Adobe Lightroom and all other editing apps can directly read DNG. If it's a photo editing app and it cannot read DNG, it's garbage. So this can be your first thing. However, be mindful, this is a free system, so please check is your camera supported on, because they are working for free, so they do take time to introduce newest camera. So if you just bought your camera and it's brand new, you may have to wait few months, or directly pay for Adobe Lightroom. Adobe, because they have a giant team decoding all this system, and companies directly work with Adobe suites to make sure. It's like Sony Camera should have its own raw decoder for Lightroom, so those companies can handle that. So you have Lightroom Mobile, you have Snapseed, which is also very popular, then you have Darkroom, and there are many more. So I would urge you to go YOLO on it. Start with, like, if you are having problems, start with raw plus DNG, and if you are in lucky scenario your camera is very popular, there is a good chance, like even free apps may able to directly handle the raw files, especially if the camera is a bit older. If it's very new, then you have to use this, but if it's old, you may need to luck out. And I would urge you to watch videos down below where I have shown all the pipelines that I'm talking about. So this was my presentation on basically how to get raw files in your mobile phone. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike. Press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment, because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.